Promotions. Live from Los Angeles, it's time for the
Now it's to the point where I might look deep into it and realize, like, dude, if you don't go do this shit, you're gonna get killed.
Yeah.
Somebody else is on it and they'll kill you.
Yeah.
You can die in this, you know?
I can't blame a fighter if they know their opponent's on it and they
It's
take
almost to the
it.
point of Like when Billy Joe got caught, you know, and Canelo got slapped on the wrist and then Billy Joe gets caught. I mean, even Billy Joe, I mean, it's like at that point, that's why I was like, all right, bro, you know what, I'm hands off, bro. I'm not fighting anymore.
Perfect. Welcome to the PorterWay Podcast. We're live right here now with the YouTube channel. Did you know we was live today?
No.
Oh yeah.
No, I like that live.
I do, man. I do.
Can't stage it.
I feel like I'm mistake free when it's live.
Well, whether you like it or not, it's mistake free, right?
We would do our rehearsals, and I'd be stuttering through the rehearsal. I'm like, I gotta get my shit together. And then it's like we come on, and it's like it's almost squeaky clean. Yeah. Shawn Zittel, YouTube channel.
Same.
God damn it, it's still Shawn Zittel on YouTube. Yeah. It's just
We're live. We're live.
Bruce Carrington. Record now, sir? Sorry?
12-0, 8 knockouts.
12-0, 8 knockouts.
He's getting so much shine, it feels like he's 20 now, right? Like,
yeah.
You're only 12 and 0.
Yeah, I said 12 didn't sound right to me. Yeah.
He's impressing people so much that I was like thinking like you're 17, 18 and 0 at this point.
Nah,
only 12 and 0, but he's getting the reputation like a guy who's 20
And looking clean too with it. You know what I mean? Yeah. We're gonna get right back to you. But Paul Malignaggi, Magic Man came in for the weekend. You didn't experience a PorterWay weekend. You just came in. We got you in a little late, so I'm gonna have to bring you back. And I already told you I'm bringing. But we're gonna do some, and then we're gonna have Bruce around too. We need some New York around him. You know, around.
You got to.
Bruce, listen. Lights out. You were the other night.
Thank you.
And I'll start with the first couple of rounds. I said he looks a little like a little off, like something you weren't firing the way I'm used to seeing you firing. So as the fight continued, I said, okay, well maybe he's just trying to find his professional pace, but you always find the right shots at the right time. And it's like I've seen now a couple different paces from you. I've seen quite a few different looks from you in the same fights, which is pretty cool. You just don't see that at 12-0 usually. You know, so kind of give us your feedback on how you feel after your fight.
I felt like with that specific opponent, he was like throwing bombs like in the first like 2 rounds. I would say to this date, he's the hardest puncher I've faced so far. With his 29 wins and 25 knockouts, in those wins, like you could tell, like I understand why he like clipped a lot of guys, and he was really confident in his power. I feel like he was trying to intimidate me with that. So. Starting off, I'm like, let me just weather the storm. You know what I mean? Let me catch a little stuff in the glove, you know what I'm saying? Maybe even let him graze me to build his confidence a little bit. But then, like I'm doing like little pokes here and there, like I'm kind of doing little stabs to the body, little touches to the body, and then maybe little hard shots up top. But just kind of just staying in his face to keep him mentally tired, right? And then after a while, once I started to see mentally and his body language was changing, I'm like, oh yeah, no, we got him. So like round 4 or 5, that's when I started to pick up the pace and started to flow, and then the rest was history.
Yeah. When you said, let him touch me a little bit. How uncomfortable was it? Was it obviously it wasn't enough to deter you from what you intended to do, right?
Right. It wasn't uncomfortable at all because it wasn't like something I haven't felt before. Like I've sparred a lot of the who's, and so I've felt like different power, you know what I'm saying? Like I've sparring guys that's 140, you know what I mean? So my body is conditioned to that. But sometimes, when you getting in the ring, first couple rounds, 8-ounce gloves, you want your body to get used to that feeling. You just kind of keep beating it, keep beating on your arms and whatever, and it's like, okay, now my body's used to it. Now I can attack the way I want to attack because I've adjusted. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
I've always been cool on that.
Yeah.
I see Manny come out in a couple fights when I spar with him. He would come out. He would let me touch him up when we would spar. When we would start the sparring, I'm like, he just let me get off. He just let me. Right. Then I would see him doing it in the fight, and I'm like, no, I think I want to see what you got. I think I'd rather just do what I do.
I was the opposite, bro. I remember, not wanting to get hit, but then I remember going into the Cotto fight thinking, okay, that's the hardest I'm going to get hit in my life. And then hoping that I was overestimating him. Yeah. And then, it's hit me on the gloves. And even on the shots that weren't landing, I'm like, oh my God, this guy hits hard. And then even in your fight, I remember the first knockdown, it barely hit me. It was it just grazed the top of my head, I feel like. And I'm on my ass, and I'm getting up, and I'm like, that shot barely hit me. Unbelievable. You know what I mean? Like, damn. You know what I mean? Like, you know, like I'm not supposed to go down from that shot. But the guy went there. So I'm like, all right.
I know you go ahead. Well, you got
Well, you fought Shawn before his weight cuts started to get worse, right?
Well, I mean, for the sake of words.
Well, Kenny,
Nobody likes seeing him cut weight like that, though.
No.
He was always a big guy.
But KP would talk about as he continued his career at welterweight, those last 10 pounds from 57 to 47, it would start to take something out of your power.
Absolutely.
So, but it wasn't as much the case in like 2014.
No, go ahead with Bruce.
No, I actually love that you did. A lot of Canelo will do that. Tank Davis did that last night. Just, you know, usually out of the high guard, but not always. And just, go ahead, touch, because I want you to stay there. I want you to get comfortable. And it's something I love seeing high-level fighters do. And I imagine, like, it just takes a really high level of comfort and confidence. And you basically, Paulie got you to explain it already. But,
So, when you get the psychology, you get a guy moving back when he doesn't want to, you know, it starts to deter them mentally. So they'll break them a little bit mentally, take something off their power as well. Don't get me wrong. I've seen guys come forward and get knocked out trying to do that. You know, they get penetrated down there. You always got to be careful. You got to be sharp with your hands and with those parries. But when you do it right, I mean, you know, Floyd did it at times. I remember Floyd did it to Zab. That's what made me realize my game plan for Zab should be to come forward, which I never do. You know, it was because I saw what Floyd did when he came forward. You were doing it in that fight. Shawn obviously did it a lot to guys. It's like you put them on a different psychology. I feel like Gervonta Davis did it last night as well, to Frank Martin, where Frank just couldn't figure out a way when to stay. He was just constantly in flight. When you go into, I call that in flight. When you start going and you're not able to stop, he got you in flight, man, you're in trouble. You're in trouble.
well, is that where you start making them throw what they call get off me punches? And they don't have their feet underneath them.
But there's not the power there because the momentum's going backwards, you know?
Frank was trying, though. Frank, you see there times when he was like trying to fight him back, but Tank just kept doing that Terminator type of, just kept stepping forward.
He didn't like times like that. You gotta like hold. You gotta like change your look, do something to make him react. Change your look, change your level. Something that makes Tank react. Cause Tank does it. You see, Tank will go like that. He'll do all this, but he's not actually throwing. So he just. It gets you at least to freeze or stop, you know? Because you guys got to freeze if a guy gets going, for me personally, if a guy gets going, it's like a locomotive, right? He just gets momentum. But if you're able to make him start, even if it's a stop for an instant and start again, you're back in first gear. The locomotive will go from the first gear to the higher speed gear if he's continuing to get his momentum. But if you're able to stop his forward progress in spots, in little spots, every time he's got to start back in first gear. So then the pressure has to restart and it's not as fast. If you're able to stop it, listen, it's a balance you got to play. It's a tightrope you got to play. But when you do it right, like you were saying with this guy, you know, you can start to see the results within yourself. And you also saw it last night.
Did you know that the monster was going to be in the arena?
Yeah. I was told probably about weeks before that he was going to possibly be in New York for a award ceremony and whatnot, and then heard that, you know, he'd probably be at the fights. So, you know, I mean, it was cool, but it was nothing I was focused on. You know what I'm saying? It was just, he's going to enjoy the Shu Shu show. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's all this is. Like, you know.
I think he did.
Yeah, I think so, too. I think so, too, for sure. Left right after. He came, I would say, the fight before, and he left right after. So he's letting everybody know, like, basically, like, I just came to watch Shu Shu. You know what I mean? So me being able to get his attention, making that much noise, just letting me know I'm doing everything I'm supposed to be doing.
I loved it because, and we talked about it on the show last week, because it was the antithesis to what we're used to from star fighters, which is downplay the young, hungry guy coming up because he's a high risk.
They keep trying to call me a prospect, bro. When I'm ranked in WBC,
Like, look, I'll tell you what.
I think I was 15 and I was a prospect.
That's what I'm saying. Like, in the older days, they would look at something like this. But you know what it is, too? The guys who come and turn pro 400 fights, they've changed the realm of things. But you didn't have the 400 amateur fights. You had a lot, though, right?
Yeah, I have like over 280.
Wow. 280. You're almost like a Russian there. But what I mean is, guys like that move faster. They move faster. But back in the old days, they would say, you put him in with a guy too strong too early, you ruin him. Like Davey Moore. You ruin him. So there was always that balance where you don't want to throw the guy in with the killer right away. Fernando Vargas, I don't think was the same if they fought Trinidad, even though he was still good. You know, like so. There's the hit and miss. Of course, as the fighter, you're like, bring it. You know, like that. that's why I love to see how guys fight in their prime. That's why I want to see guys like Gervonta and Shakur fight in their prime. You want to see, because I always compare everything to Leonard and Hearns. They fought in their prime. There's a ferocity there in your mind that doesn't exist later. You know what I mean? It's like Mayweather Pacquiao. We both made our money. I could box, you could box. We're gonna box, but we're not. It's not gonna be ferocious. I'm not willing to go to that ferocious place, and you're not willing to go to that ferocious place. So we're gonna show our skills. But in your 20s, when you're in your 20s and you fight each other, you know what? I want to be the best. I want to be the best. And when you're in your 30s, I'm already the best. I got so much money, whatever. Then when you're in your 20s, you're like, there's that ferocity. You put two guys with the highest level of skill and highest level of ferocity together. That's where you get the best fights, man. That's why you had to make them not. I had to make them marinate and ruin them. Yeah, exactly. Same thing. Exactly. Same thing.
In there.
I worked that fight. Ferocious fight.
We were walking in and we were talking. He said, "Yo, the pace of that fight was just crazy."
Amazing.
I never watched that fight. So when you said that, in my mind I saw it and I was like, wow, like that was a crazy.
Are you
pace.
able to watch a fight and just take yourself out of it and just
Absolutely
watch it as a good
not.
fight?
Absolutely not.
That's a good fight worth watching.
You could do that?
I mean, even the Danny Garcia fight too.
What am I actually that entertaining? That's like a special fight.
Yeah,
You and
true.
Keith
Yeah.
It's a
When
fight.
I do it, I'm gonna do it, Keith. So
Yeah. You know what? You should have a sit down and watch the fight together.
absolutely, that's the plan. That's the plan.
And
Yeah.
Like when Rocky and Apollo are watching that fight together, Rocky fought. Like, you definitely should have slipped that one, Stallion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So 12-0. Honest answer from you. Obviously, do you feel like the Monsters that's the next step for you? You think you're ready for that?
I've been feeling like I'm ready, to be honest, like mentally, physically. People will try to not really give me a chance with them because I only have 12 fights and I don't have a belt yet or whatever. But if you have a trained eye, you know that is gonna be a great fight to be made. You know what I'm saying? So time will tell, if anything happens. But to be honest, I'm in a position to where I know what I'm worth and I know what I can bring to the sport of boxing, to where it's like, if the fight with me and Inoue don't happen, I'm gonna be okay. I'm not gonna be chasing no Inoue fight. My legacy will be my legacy with or without Inoue.
I think though he may take his time coming to featherweight. He got dropped at 122. He may settle at 122 for a little while.
I think
so that gives you enough time to also build your star a little bit more.
Yeah, but then at the same time, he's showing a bigger vulnerability.
You think somebody else is gonna beat him before
not.
you get him?
I hope not.
But you think there's a risk? I mean, who at 122? Maybe like a Brandon Figueroa could be a risk,
I
But
don't
He's
think
at
so.
26.
he's 26.
He's 26 now, but
Maybe,
even
if you beat a
that
Brandon
happen-
Figueroa, now you set the stage for Inoue fight.
Right, for sure.
Because Figueroa was one guy that I was wondering if Inoue could deal with the pressure, deal with that. But if you beat like a guy of that level, now people say, oh, you know what? He could fight Inoue.
Right,
I think right now the people that may doubt it, it's like, oh, like you said, he's a prospect. The level of opposition is rising. But,
Yes.
I mean, you get that kind of scalp on your record.
Yeah,
It's
I
like,
plan
all
on
right.
it. I plan on it, and I'm ready for it. It's just, it's just time. It's just time. But like I said, mentally, physically, I'm ready.
I want to set the stage for you, big dog, but I don't really know how to. When people want to make announcements and things like that, I'm like, yo, go whenever you ready. I don't know if if that's still in motion for you.
We're trying to see if we can get it back into play.
Okay.
But
don't get yourself in trouble. So.
Nah. I'm actually was supposed to get on the Tyson and Jake Paul card.
Okay.
That's the card I was alluding to. So yes, man, that would have been great for me to be able to
Great exposure.
fight on that. Me and Mike, we're in great contact with each other to where like our team. Like he was so excited after I fought the fight before last, and I did that whole.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
My style
I'm the
is
best ever.
perpetual.
All of that,
Yeah.
He called my team like, "Yo, man, you crazy, man? Bro, look, I need you on a card."
Yeah.
I'm like, "What?"
Yeah.
So that was like that would have been a great experience, man. But we're trying to see if we can get.
It's looking like November
15th.
Yeah.
Back in Dallas.
Everybody call me a hater, but I still don't think it's gonna happen. So.
At this point, I don't know.
But did they replace him with Mike Perry? I heard that. Did they replace that? No, that
Nah,
was
it's still
OBS.
on. It's still on as of right now.
Okay.
But from the backlash that it's getting from people like saying, "Oh, Mike is getting old."
Yeah.
And the
He
health
ain't gonna get any
problems
younger
that-
if they keep putting it off.
Right,
He's
exactly.
58 this month.
Right, you know, so I just feel like the more time that passes, people might just be like, cut it off. You know, but I hope not.
Yeah.
I hope not. I would love to fight on a platform like Netflix.
Couple belts in the ring after your fight.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's a couple of them. So, like, where's your ranking now? And
You were in the top 4 with the WBO heading
Yes.
into the fight, right?
Yes, correct.
So now,
I don't know if they updated it yet.
right?
But yes.
Because that sometimes takes like a week or two.
Who's the
Correct.
BO featherweight champion?
Rafael Espinoza.
Who
Yeah.
fights this Friday? Yeah, at the
Yeah.
Fountain Blue.
Yeah, I'll
Tall.
be there.
You'll be
I was
there.
gonna ask
I'll be
you.
there.
Yeah.
Now in Vegas, you get to be at all the shows. Look at
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
President,
You know
the
I'm looking
president's
at
is
the
That's why he
felt.
moved there. That's
You know,
why
I'm
he
looking
moved
at the menu. You know, I'm
Yeah.
scouting.
Yeah.
So you'll be at the fight for sure.
For sure. I actually became a fan of him after he beat Robesi,
Robesi.
man.
Me too.
Dude, I
Yes.
was like, yo, bro,
That was a
he's a
fight.
badass.
Yes.
Yeah, that
Like,
was a
he
great
showed
fight.
a lot of grit and a lot of will,
Yes,
a lot
that
of
was the guy that
integrity to
beat
keep his
Robesi.
game plan what it was.
We did our
Whoa.
our whatever's of the years of the year stuff, and that was my fighter of the year.
Yeah.
And at that point in time, when I'm looking at the big names, completely forgot about him.
Yeah.
But that was a performance,
Yeah.
man. Right
Bro, even
there.
a Rebasi's a good opponent for you.
Yeah, yeah,
So you
word,
get that,
word.
like, export
We're
champion.
familiar
Like,
with
I'm
each
trying to
other.
like see what guys you could
Yeah,
get
Yeah,
in that build
we're
up his
definitely
brain.
familiar
You know,
with
like
each other. I've helped.
ex-world
I was in
champion,
camp.
ex-gold medalist.
I was in camp with him when he was getting ready for Isaac Dogbe. He was fighting, yeah. So we shared some rounds with each other.
Okay.
He's familiar with
There's
me.
a little bit of history.
So he's familiar with me. So I'm gonna just leave it at that.
You at the fights last night, right?
Yes, I was.
Yeah.
I was at
Yeah,
the
I
fight
saw
last night.
Bruce there. Yeah.
How was the energy?
It was great, man. It's always a great energy when Tank is fighting. You know what I'm saying? But you know, me, I was I was happy to get floor seats so where I could be able to mingle with everybody, man. And that alone made me realize how many people are starting to know me. Like freaking
Bro, ESPN's a big platform, bro.
Bro, what it is.
Yeah.
Steven Jackson, he knows who I am. Damian Lillard knows who I am. Gillian Waller knows who I am. I'm just sitting there like, dude, y'all know who I am? Like, they coming up to me, yo, what's up, Shu Shu? Like, oh, what's up? Like,
Your work pays off though, but that's all. That goes to show you that your work pays off. You know,
Yeah,
it feels
man,
good.
it is. It's very humbling. It's very humbling, man. And I'm just gonna keep my foot on the gas, bro. You know what I mean? I'm just happy.
It's
to
also
just do my
motivating,
thing. Yeah, it's
you know?
super
So,
motivating.
you know, it's-
I want to be able to like have a fight where all them guys are sitting in their
100.
blue seat watching me. Like that's the plan.
Yeah.
100.
You know what I
And
mean?
that'll happen. Those
I
guys, all
just-
the big fights. You saw them last night for Gervonta,
Yeah,
right?
seriously, like right now, I got Rosie Perez. She's come to my last two
Yeah.
fights.
Rosie's
Show
a
me
big boxing
love.
fan.
I got to meet Spike Lee through her just
You
recently.
met Spike Lee, wow.
Yeah, like bro.
She was in Do the Right Thing.
Do the
with
right
Spike
thing.
Lee.
yeah,
She's the intro dancer.
Yo, yeah.
And this girl in the movie,
Yeah,
right?
man. So, dude, when I tell you, it's like things are really just coming together, and I'm just happy about it, man. I'm super blessed.
I love the fight with you with the New A. It's an explosive fight.
Yes.
You're gonna challenge him in the exchanges, which is
For
where
sure.
Neary was able to drop him.
For sure.
Was because Neary's a talented fighter too, who was able to early give him some pushback in the exchanges. Other guys can't keep up with him in the exchanges,
yeah.
and I know you'll be willing to challenge him. He's not gonna get you to throw get off me punches.
Definitely,
You're gonna want the smoke.
100%. Like me, when I go in there, bro, I don't really show no respect.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna be like one to bully him, like, cause
That's
I
where the
fight.
Brownsville
My
comes
style
out.
is like I want to bully you, like I want to beat you down. That's just my mentality. So you got to really gain my respect. You gotta kill me, bro. Like, that's just what it is. Like I don't respect nobody, bro. When I'm in that ring, it's just like it's just me fighting myself. Like I'm just pushing myself, and you're not gonna be able to handle my pace. You're not gonna be able to handle my pressure. You're not gonna be able to handle the things that I bring to the ring. And I'm just super confident in that. Super confident.
Well, that's one of my takeaways from observing Gervonta. And I talked to James
yes.
Toney during the week, and I'm like, James, you know, he loved Gervonta, which made sense to me. And I said, you know, is he like you in that he's mean in there? And James was like, you gotta be mean as a fighter. You gotta not give a F. And yeah, that's what, you know, it's like me and Paulie, we love Rocky Balboa, right? We're Italian, but you know, you can't. Observing Gervonta taught me something about boxing. Not, you know, it further illustrated something that you can't just fight on heart and guts and brains. You gotta have balls.
Yes.
And so, you
But
know,
also the brains is knowing when it's time to show those
Yes.
balls, and
Right.
when it's time to let off the gas and skill it. You know, that part of that intelligence is also knowing how to navigate your way through a fight. You know, in a way where, you know,
That comes with experience.
Yeah.
Yes.
Experience,
100%.
and you got plenty of that, even in the amateurs too. You know.
Yeah. That's the thing. People don't know that. Like I feel like people they underestimate my
Because you know what?
IQ and experience. They see 12 fights.
Because people
they
don't
what's
see
on
Western
paper.
fighters with that many amateur fights.
Yeah,
It's true.
yeah,
You're
that's
you're
true.
you're an anomaly.
That is true.
Aside from Cubans, you don't have Western fighters.
That's not true.
280 amateur fights. How many?
Yeah.
Not.
275.
You are not.
Yeah, but you guys, that's a dying breed.
Bro, I had 49 amateur
but it
fights.
is though. No.
In America, that's
in
a dying
America,
breed.
there's a lot of young kids turning pro, dude.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
a lot of, like,
Now, yeah,
18,
yeah.
17, they're turning
Once
pro.
they have
bro.
70, 80, they're like, I'm good. You know?
Look at that one
Yeah.
national title. Oh, I'm ready to turn pro. No, you're not. Like, take your time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Some people, like, there's an exceptions. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I also feel like, as far as man strength is concerned, there's a time as well.
That's
Too
my
early.
biggest
I've seen guys.
concern.
I've seen JO national champions turn pro and ruin their careers because they're fighting men now. I always feel like the first men you should fight should be in the amateurs. You shouldn't start fighting men, no matter how skilled you are, as a pro. You start to fight men. You know?
Definitely. I needed
It's a
that
different
experience,
field.
dude. I wanted to go into the pros completely confident, like, okay, I've seen this stuff. I felt this type of power. You know what I mean? So I won't be like feeling like I have any type of doubt of or going in a ring and seeing something or experiencing something that I've never experienced before.
Yeah.
That would like, you know what I mean?
But that's
no.
that's the intelligence to know that. I felt the same thing. We were talking to Shawn last night, and we're saying, you know, I was going to turn pro a year before I turned pro, but in that final year, I kind of turned the corner. I was able to win a national title. Again, I only had 49 amateur fights, but I was glad that last year because I accomplished so much, and it also made me, you know, raise my mental game to the point where I saw more than I had seen before. Because I had still. There was things that I didn't understand. Certain situations I would get into sparring sessions, like I don't understand my way how to navigate my way out of that. So it's the same.
Yeah.
But not everybody thinks like that. Some guys just turn pro and just ran. So you would think in that way too. You know what I mean? Like where it's like, nah, I wanted to figure out all my way, how to navigate my way through all circumstances that could possibly pop up.
Yes.
You know?
Wow. Yes.
And that's a mental decision. That's cerebral, bro. Not everybody thinks that way, bro.
Yeah.
You got 21-year-old Elijah Garcia. Is he 21?
Yeah, yep.
You got
He
got
just
upset
lost
by
to,
Chiron.
Yeah, Kai,
Chiron Davis.
Yeah.
Man,
Who gave up 3 pounds on the scales and still won the fight.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was last night.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one we were talking about. Kind of take us through that fight, like, you know how.
Well, Chiron got off to a good start. Elijah, you know, I didn't know because Elijah's the A side. He's the 21-year-old undefeated prospect, and he was pushing forward, but you know, he wasn't sharp. He was kind of slow, and you know, he had that weight advantage. He came in at 165, then he was able to cut down to 63. Chiron's at 160. Breadman was going to call the fight off if he came in over 173 the morning of the fight. He made it, but it wasn't like Ryan and Devin where it looked like those 3 pounds gave him an advantage. It looked like he was sluggish.
Yeah.
And Chiron got off to a good start. Elijah pushed forward and applied some good pressure, had some moments, but ultimately wasn't enough.
Yeah.
And, you know, he lost a competitive fight to Chiron. Yeah.
Go back real quick. They were supposed to fight. Was it the Canelo card they were supposed to fight on?
I think it might have been Canelo Charlo. It might have been Zoo.
I think it was
Canelo Charlo. It was.
I think they were supposed to fight on Canelo Charlo card. And I saw him on the stage, and I heard him speak in the press conference, and he seemed very unsure of himself. He said, "Well, you know, I know what he's coming with, and I know what I'm coming with, and you know, I got to be on my thing because if I'm not, you know, he can beat me." And I was like, I'm not. And you're young talking like this. This doesn't sound right. So when the fight got called off, it was called off because of an allergenic situation.
He said, I was sick, and if I'm not going to go ahead and lose the fight and then have excuses for it.
Listen, man, I knew something wasn't right. Yeah. Based on what I was seeing, based on the
energy. Then he had it last night and he lost anyway.
And then, so then he comes back for this fight, and I'm like, "Hey, man, how you feeling?" And you know, he's like, "I'm good." I'm like, "All right." But it wasn't a.
You didn't
you know,
feel it.
So it's in your head. It's in your head.
Something, man.
You can get in your own head a lot of times.
Yeah.
True.
We had him and his dad on the podcast show in the media room, and they sound great. They seem like they got it together, but he himself seems like there's a disconnect. So I hope this doesn't.
It's not for a lack of dog. The kid's tough. Like, you know, so it's not like.
I'm not sure what it is.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's not like,
Could be self-doubt.
Self-doubt, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's just a lot of self-doubt.
Yeah.
That hinders a lot of fighters, man. Like that stops a lot.
Insecurity
of
in a way, you know?
Yeah, man. They can't reach that threshold, that next level to be able to unlock, like, you know, just their flow. They'll never get into it because that self-doubt.
Yeah.
One last thing, because I got Paulie here. He'll really appreciate this. The fight, now, again, if Bruce has anything to say about it, it won't be the same outcome as when the foreign superstar came to the Garden and fought the New Yorker. But I feel like Inoue and Carrington could be like Hamed and Kelly.
Yeah.
That's the fight.
Yeah.
Okay, what fight makes sense for Inoue to come to the States and for it to move the needle enough to take him out of Japan where he's making tens of millions?
If you want to make him in the
Shu
Garden, you need a sort of a New York foe, right?
Yeah.
You need that. You know, they Hamed and Kelly. They did it with me and Cole. They did it with me and Khan too. I was always the guy they used to
Right. And Broner.
Benitez and Davey Moore as well, right?
Right.
So, you know, although probably Benitez had fought in the U.S. already, but nonetheless it was in New York, you know.
But that fight had, 7 knockdowns in 4 rounds or something crazy like that?
You need that New York guy to, you know, hype up, you know, because also the New Yorker also has a certain swag to him, you know.
Definitely, yeah.
Because in a way, it sells on just the intimidation factor. But, you know, the New Yorker will sell on the swag. That's why Hamed and Kelly was so funny, because Hamed had his own swag too. So Kelly had
Right.
I remember that promotion. That was a funny promotion.
That's like your.
But maybe Brooklyn can
Would that
succeed
be
where
considered-
Queens just came up a little short, you know? So, Flush and Flash, former WBC champ. Shout out to Kevin Kelly.
Your
Great
favorite
fight,
fighter all time?
Who?
Kevin Kelly and Ahmed?
My first fight I ever went to, yeah.
The first fight you ever went to, is
it my favorite fight of all time? Honestly, I don't know, man.
Okay.
It's like,
There's too many great ones.
I was a big Arturo Gatti fan. I loved Wilson Rodriguez and Arturo Gatti. That was like stone cold. Like,
Tell the story real quick though about you going to Kevin Kelly fight.
The Kevin Kelly fight. Well, I told you it was basically I had no amateur fights yet. I had just started boxing. This was the fight that basically I left the Garden saying I gotta do this, you know. Like, but I started boxing 6 months before. Had no amateur fights. I told Shawn, I remember the first day I stepped in the gym because it's a famous week. I stepped in the gym June 26, 1997. The only reason I remember the exact date is because 2 days later was the bite fight. Holyfield Tyson, June 28th. So June 28th is the bite fight. So I know 2 days, subtract 2 days. I started on Thursday. My first day in the gym, my first lesson, like in front of the mirror, like I'm talking about like that lesson, literally the first day, June 26, 97. So fast forward 6 months later. I've been sparring and I've been, training, learning. I'm getting all right, but I have no experience. I'm definitely not anything to brag about. But I'm already starting to get the bug a little bit. And I see the first of all, the promotion behind Hamed was crazy. It was on the subway. So every day I'm going to the gym, it was Hamed with the gloves lit up, or Hamed they're on the subway posters. They pushed the Hamed American entry was crazy. So I can imagine Kevin was pissed, because Kevin's in New York. And Kevin as a former WBC world champion never got that kind of push in New York.
Wow.
Hamed was getting a massive push. Times Square, there was a billboard.
Leno.
There was a billboard. Yeah, there was a billboard on top of the Holland Tunnel. Like, bro, you know how many people drive through the Holland Tunnel every day? You know what I mean? So
They better not do that with me.
that's what I'm saying. So either way. What the other side of it is, you get your chance and you also get your money. And then if you beat them, you get it. I look at, as an older person now, I could still appreciate it because it's like, I got the opportunity. Everybody's gonna pay attention to him, which means they're gonna pay attention to me because I'm fighting them. That's why I would look at it. In the moment, of course, and I'm younger, I'm thinking I would be the way you're saying, man. And I'm sure Kevin was young at the time. Was young at the time too. He was 30.
Yeah.
He was like, But looking back now, I can probably think like, I can appreciate that because even the other person is going to get a massive promo push because everybody's going to tune in for this guy's fight. And this person can't beat this guy. And then all of a sudden it's like, whoa, So, I say, at this point I was trying to make side money at my uncle's pizzeria, doing deliveries. He wouldn't pay me. So I was doing deliveries because it scrapped up $25. I saw the cheapest ticket was $25. And I scrounged up enough for $25. You remember this was in New Yorker. They had tokens before Metro cards. You had to have tokens. Yeah. So I saved up $3 for the tokens, was $20, so $28. $25 for the ticket and $1.50 for the token each way from Brooklyn and back from Manhattan. So I had 2 tokens, $25 in my pocket. None of my friends wanted to go. At this point I was boxing. I wasn't hanging out with very many friends anymore anyway. So I go by myself to the Garden and I'm gonna watch this whole card, bro. I'm excited. I get to the front desk. I get to the ticket. and it's a $2 surcharge on tickets, bro. I don't got the money.
And I do the puppy dog eyes.
I mean, I honestly, luckily for me, when I was 17, I probably looked like I was 13 anyway. You know, I always looked a little younger when I was a kid. So I guess I still remember my reaction was just like, oh, like that. I don't know, maybe the face looked a little more innocent. She just looks for her superior and slides me the ticket.
Yeah.
And I'll never ever meet this woman. Sean was talking about, I wish I will never meet this woman. This woman changed my life in some ways.
That's old school New York. I don't know if it'd get down like that.
Now, no. But now everything's digital anyway. You beat, you know.
They'd be like,
but I see the fight, and the fight changed my life. I mean, I went home. I mean, the whole subway ride, I'm like, yo, I got to feel this. That was insane. I've got to experience this. This was insane. Luckily, it was a great fight because there's also been duds at the Garden, you know. But I'm the subway home, just like, what did I just watch? What did I just experience? Because even the co-main event, Junior Jones and Kennedy McKinney, was wild. It was a wild fight, you know? So both fights were wild. Kevin dropped him 3 times. I mean, you know, he got his respect in that. I mean, it was just a wild, wild night. And 6 degrees of separation, you never know. And that's what I was telling Shawn yesterday. On the undercard, in a 4-rounder, Ricky Hatton is fighting.
Right.
I have no amateur fights, but that's the guy I'm going to main event against 11 years later in the MGM Grand. And I have no idea. He's a 4-rounder on the undercard. And I don't remember watching him. And that's another reason why I started doing crazy hairstyles and crazy things. Because I remember Joan Guzman on the undercard. The only reason I remember Joan Guzman on the undercard, who also became world champion, is because he had yellow hair. So I remembered he had... Otherwise, I probably wouldn't have, you know, I've watched so many fights that night, I wouldn't have really remembered, you know? So that's one of the reasons I also started dressing real flashy in fights. Because, like, you know, in case people don't remember my name, they'll remember, oh, that's the kid with the hair. That's the kid with that. That's why I started doing that, too. You know?
I love that story. Let's move on, though. Gary Antoine dropped the last
Another
night.
upset last night, right?
Yeah. Well, Puello is funny. He's a tall guy, but he likes to fight in the pocket. He doesn't really fight tall.
It was a firefight.
That's like a Fundora, like a Corrales, Fundora, you know?
The guy had way more resistance than I thought he was going to have. I didn't know much about him.
Yeah, we were watching at dinner. We were like, yo, this is a fight, man.
Way more resistance than I thought he was going to have. From the arena, to me, it seemed like he never, like, no.
Yeah, no.
Damn.
Well, he called Alberto.
It was intense the whole time.
He called Alberto basura. He called him trash. But I think that might have woke the Dominican up that much more, gave him that little extra. I don't, you know.
You know, those Hispanics, they play off machismo, man. You know when I get into the machismo game with them, you know?
A big problem with Antoine, I was seeing, like, he wasn't really getting full extension on his punches, man. He was, like, smothering a lot of his shots to where he couldn't get him off clean. And then Puello, he was just, like, you know, countering really well. He had, like, a lot of outside right hands that came out pretty well. Man, he just really kept Antoine honest for a lot of the fight. And, bro, like, that was
when you
a
say
really
honest,
good
can you break
fight.
that down for the fans?
This kid is going to be an analyst. You speak well. Your mind sees way through the layers, bro.
Thank you.
And
Yeah, what do you mean by kept him honest?
You know, when I think about keeping a fighter honest, I think in a perfect example, Floyd Mayweather and Canelo Alvarez, right? If you notice, the only difference between Caleb and Canelo Alvarez's fight is the fact that Caleb would catch Canelo with a shot, right? Canelo would fire back, but Caleb wouldn't do anything after, right? Floyd, he would fire, Canelo would fire back, and Floyd would fire right back, and then Floyd would fire right back again. That was keeping Canelo honest.
Begin the exchange and end the exchange.
And
Yes.
punctuate.
That right there is keeping Canelo honest, and that's what Puello was doing.
So you're getting in a guy's head 2 ways. You're getting in a guy's head that you're getting off first, consistently, and then you're leaving him getting hit less too.
Yes.
Well, the old school trend said, right? Be first and be last.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right. And I felt like that's the approach that Puello brought into the ring, and that was a real firefight because Antoine, he has a lot of will as well too. He was right in the fight with him. You know what I'm saying? He had his moments as well. And that's
He
what
carried the middle
Again,
portion.
younger ferocity.
Yeah.
Both
The
guys
middle-
are hungry. Both guys are
Like
still.
Puello started strong and finished strong.
get
I felt like the
better
middle
fights
portion,
because of the
Gary
mentality, too.
Antoine did his thing.
100%.
Yeah.
So that was a treat for the fans, man. Like that night they had like a fight, like a card full of good fights.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Man, but I felt like Antoine, he just was smothering a lot of his shots to where like it just lost the quality of it. You know, and Puello was just landing the more eye-catching shots, and he stood, you know, real tall in terms of his integrity and tenacity.
Yeah.
So that's what really won him that fight.
Because I thought heading into that fight, Gary.
Plus the point taken away.
Right,
Antoine was taking away
right.
too.
Because when I heard the 114, 130, that sucks. Gary
Yeah.
Antoine's going to get this off that
that
point
1 point.
deduction. That sucks for Puello.
Yeah.
No, he got the call.
other way, yeah.
And he buzzed Gary. Gary had a good chin, but he buzzed him a couple times
Yeah.
late.
Yeah.
And that's what won him the fight, was those eye-catching counters up close, where you would think Gary Antoine, whose hands get real fast when he gets in your wheelhouse, all of a sudden, them pawing shots from the outside, now he turns on and he could rip right there. So you think against the taller guy, once he gets in his wheelhouse, that's where Gary Antoine was going to win the fight. But Puello had an answer there in the pocket and ran him into some eye-catching counters. He landed the most eye-catching shots, and that's what got him the edge by the judges. It was a really good fight.
Definitely.
But Gary Antoine, you know, I know I'm speaking to the choir because it's three, you know, professionals here. And I thought when we started, said, who doesn't, the crowds, the audience is going to ask themselves, who here doesn't fit? You know, but you know, I could say a lot of good things about Gary Antoine in defeat. He's still a very capable pressure fighter.
Absolutely.
And I love his hand speed in close. And, you know, work on a couple things here and there, and he could still become a champion.
100%.
They both performed well.
Yeah,
So
I agree.
It's a deep weight class, man.
Yeah,
it is.
It is, right?
And it's upside down constantly. 140.
Yeah.
Like the mix and match if you do on 140 is ridiculous. Like even the guys that don't have world titles, like this is right there, even them guys are like really threatening. Like, you know what I mean? It's that 140.
Look what Liam
Look
Farrell
what
did
Pyro
last night.
did last night.
Yeah, seriously.
yeah.
Yeah, man. Listen.
So I didn't think he was
they
going to do that.
They were trying to make Matias like this boogeyman type of unstoppable dude, right? Granted, like his style.
I bought into it. And then
I was gonna say you sold it to me, and I ended up buying
Did
it.
not see the Petros Anania fight.
You know, it's funny. That guy I fought on Pro Box, the network I work at. I kick a fight too, but I just know that I kick a fight. You know,
Right.
But man, dude. I mean, I've seen enough Puerto Rican destroyers to be like, all right, this guy's like the next one. This guy's the next one. You know.
Oh, wow.
So I just bought into it. You know.
Yeah.
The thing I never let go of, I mean, like I said, like y'all basically sold me on it. We did a show and everybody's saying, "Oh, so what about Matias? What about Matias?" And everybody's coming at me because I said he's good, he's decent, but I don't think he's the guy.
Yeah.
Then I watched his fight previous to this one, and he's like
Ergashev.
a rock. Yes,
Yeah.
and he's
Yeah,
just like a
he
rock.
made Ergashev quit. Ergashev was like
But
one of those
here's
like
the
Easterns
thing.
with a pun of
You
experience.
still have to have true skills.
Yes.
And he don't got true skills.
That was the biggest thing I could take away from Matias.
But I thought that he was so. I was like, oh.
I mean, if you stay in front of him, he's really good in
yeah,
what he does.
Exactly. But
Yeah.
that's the thing. His feet is not there. You know what I'm saying? Like I would always think
They're
about.
worse than I thought, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. I would always think about like a guy like Gennady Golovkin. Gennady has skills.
Yeah.
He has skills with his aggression. You know what I'm saying?
But he also close cuts off the ring constantly.
yeah, oh man, he was a master at cutting off the
Had
ring.
an amazing
Notice
jab.
Golovkin, you know
Master.
one thing that like is almost like a pet peeve of mine when fighters are pressure fighters and they walk like this. It's like,
Yeah.
like Golovkin is always like
Yes,
with his
the whole
feet, you know,
time.
because when you walk like this to your guy, you lose a split second to set and fire.
Does
When you
Benavidez
go-
do that too much, Paulie?
He does that at times. That's why he has trouble cutting off the ring at times. Some of the guys move. When you're going laterally, you got to go laterally the way you're taught boxing. When you're coming forward, you got to go forward the way you're taught in boxing. But that way, when you land, you can fire quicker. I'm telling you, at a highest level, the split second can make or break the
Biggest
moment.
difference, yes.
It's a big difference. So you need to. You know, it's like one of Wolf of Wall Street when he said, was it Wolf?
Yeah.
When he realized he bought a half second back when instead of hanging up, he pressed the button. Was it Wolf of Wall Street or was it?
No, I think
was
that-
it
I think
Boiler
you're right.
Room? Maybe it was Boiler Room. But anyway, one of these stock movies. And instead of hanging up the phone, he realized that if he didn't hang up and press the hang up, and he was getting he was able to make a certain amount of more calls every day because he wasn't putting the phone down and up, you know?
Wow.
So it's basically the same thing. When you're coming forward or cutting off the ring or whatever, footwork, that instead of this way, I feel okay, you can cross your feet if you're going away, right? Whatever. But if you're going to the action, your feet should be always set right. That's one thing Golovkin always had.
Yeah.
Because he was always going to the action. He was bringing it to you. When you're going to the action, you gotta have your feet set right. If you're going away, okay, you want to cross your feet, go for a walk, whatever.
Yeah.
But if you gotta go to the action, you gotta have your feet set.
Gotta be
Because
ready.
first of all, a guy can throw at you, number one, and also you lose that split second of fire when you see the opening. You gotta set first.
That's a fact. Let's move on. With that being said, the David Benavidez.
Although it does look like early on, it was like Benavidez was creating his own solution to it because he was shifting a lot and he was starting to say, F it, like, I'm literally going to just fight southpaw sometimes, which is, he's been kind of throwing southpaw-like shots with his feet squared up. But this fight, he took the next step a few times and just did it at southpaw. And I thought his shifting of weight with his head movement in the first half of that fight was really good. I was liking all the improvements, how accurate he was to the body. And then he just slowed down in the second half and still won wide against Gvozdyk, who you guys were talking earlier about, like the get off me punches. And that's mostly what Gvozdyk was throwing all night. Like, we rarely saw him throw that right hand he threw against Benavidez or Stevenson. You know,
well, that's all the credit to David too. He put him on that back foot as well. He put him on that back foot consistently. I got to give still credit because you're not going to look as destructive at a new weight class, right? I mean, typically the new weight class is bigger guys. You're dealing with a different kind of physicality. But I still like the control David had of the fight against a good fighter and against a fighter who, even in his only loss, was winning when he got stopped against Benavidez. People forget Gvozdyk was winning the fight against Benavidez when he got stopped. Granted, it was close, but he was winning that fight. So
he was turning him and touching him up.
Yeah, so this is a little. Granted, it's a little bit of an older Gvozdyk, but it's still a Gvozdyk who lost more rounds last night than any fight in his career. You know, so and then that's a courtesy of David Benavidez to do that. So,
and maybe he did himself a favor. It's like, Canelo, did those late rounds entice you enough to get in the ring now? Like, did you see enough vulnerability?
Had a better shot at hitting the lotto.
Paulie, I got at this point, it has evolved into a duck, right? Like when you're a superstar.
I was thinking of the biggest ducks. I was thinking of the biggest duck. We had a conversation, me and Chris Algier had this conversation. We were talking about, like, what's big, and it was hard to find a bigger duck, honestly, outright, where, like, it's a mandatory and everything else, and the sanctioning body is in on it as well, and to the point where you don't even want to ask for step-aside money because you say, no, I don't even need your money, I want to fight you, you know what I mean? And guy still doesn't fight you, and the sanctioning body still doesn't force him to pay the money where you have to say, no, I don't want it, you know what I mean? Like, it's not even been brought up. I was thinking the only thing close was Tyson when he didn't fight Lewis. He paid $4 million when he fought Holyfield instead, and then he got beat. No, first he fought Bruce Seldon. He fought Bruce Seldon.
That's why they fought for the WBA.
He fought Bruce Seldon for the
WBC, right?
And Lennox Lewis was the mandatory. He had to fight Lennox Lewis.
So that's why they didn't fight for
and
the
instead he
WBC.
went for Bruce Seldon, exactly. And he paid $4 million step-aside. He had to pay $4 million step-aside money. But the step-aside money is typically you get the shot later.
Right.
The shot never came because then Holyfield was 2 months later.
You got the
Holyfield
belt
beats
too.
him, and that's it. It all imploded. And then it ended up being Holyfield fighting Lennox later on.
So he gave him the step-aside and the belt.
Essentially, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you got Riddick Bowe did the same thing. Lennox was ducked by two of the biggest Brooklyn heavyweights ever.
Man, Lennox was one of the most
Riddick and Mike.
underrated heavyweights, bro. Like, he's not talked about enough or appreciated enough.
Yeah.
He was.
I think now he is by people who love
You know
boxing.
what it is? Because Lennox wasn't the big
but-
personality. You know what I mean? It's weird. Like, like Ryan Garcia gets a lot of shine because the personality and crazy
way
thing.
more than
than the reality. Well, perception is reality, right? So
Right, exactly.
it's crazy because it's really not. But because if enough people think something's real, it's gonna become real in the public's mind.
I saw you mention that.
And this is all show business.
Past podcast.
Everybody was like me when Lennox Lewis was at his height, and I feel like everybody was like me.
Yeah.
He was black and he had an accent, and it just didn't make sense to me. I was like, I would see him on TV.
Hello, I'm Lennox Lewis. You're watching HBO.
What is going on?
Everybody had a different black guys. Like Livingston Bramble was, Caribbean. You know.
He was on the Tyler Quali album.
Yeah.
In 2000. He did the intro for Down for the Count.
Caribbean,
You know?
that accent makes sense to us. Being big, black with dreads, and having an English accent didn't make sense to us. And then we heard he was from Canada. We was like, hold on, man,
like,
this
this
ain't
will
making
confuse,
sense.
bro.
Yeah. He spent his whole career confused.
Jamaican, Canadian, British, who trains in Detroit.
It's confusing, bro.
It makes sense. You did it to yourself. Ladies, you did it to yourself.
You know what though? I said it because I gave Canelo the benefit of the doubt because he's a great fighter. And I think he will fight David when it's all said and done because he is a true champ.
Just like I told the Canelo Clown Posse, that's how I call it. I'll expect all my Paulie, you were right at the end of it. I expect to hear from everybody. Paulie, you know what, you were right. And
You think he retires without facing Benavidez?
Absolutely.
Jump through the sun, absolutely.
He's been on the highway
so.
as long as he's been on the highway by himself.
Yeah.
Forever.
Yeah.
This man, this is his final trip. You telling me he's going to take the David Benavidez exit?
Well, that's the problem. The problem is he has the belts because you don't have to fight David Benavidez. Just drop the vacate the title. You are holding the undisputed title hostage. That's my issue. Right. I don't have a problem because I honestly think David runs him over like a train anyway. I've been saying it. If they fight, David runs him over like when you leave the car in the tracks and the locomotive comes and runs it over. If they fight, that's what's going to happen to Canelo. He's going to get run over like a locomotive. But
suck back down to 68 after going to
if you put, you can do that. You can put the rehydration clauses. You can maneuver and then maybe make it a little bit more competitive in that way. But the fight itself, in its purest form, otherwise is a wash, in my opinion. So for me, I don't care so much about the fight as I care about, hey, this guy would just get rid of the titles. Chavez had a retirement tour too. He didn't have a belt, so he could choose who he wanted to fight. Julius Chavez. You're too young, but Chavez went on a retirement tour. He ended up getting beat on one of them fights, actually, in the retirement tour. But he had a retirement tour. He fought like the
Grover Wiley.
Yeah, random guys like Grover Wiley. Hey, belt, more power to you. You sell tickets. You're the most popular guy. Canelo could do that. You can go sell the guy that's going to bring the Uber Eats later and whatnot.
Chavez was at that.
Right now, but he's still not good enough to be able to hold the titles. I think Morrell and Benavidez both beat him. But we're not getting Benavidez and Morrell.
I don't want to say Morrell just yet.
Earlier, the ferocity. He does not have what those guys have right now. They have the ferocity. They have the mindset to want to kill.
Process.
Yeah,
that's also part of that aging process, and that's normal. That's natural. That's nothing. That's not a knock on Canelo. It also comes with that aging process. This is boxing. If you want to hang around long enough, it happened to Joe Louis and Marciano, all that. You know what I mean? It happened. You hang around long enough. Happened with Ali, with freaking Spinks, and then Larry Holmes. If you want to hang around long enough, this is part of the process. It was like, I don't know, man. You look at, speaking of Ali, right? Ali retired with a lot of money, right? So it wasn't like he fought those guys because of the money, right? Yet he still fought freaking Larry Holmes, bro.
Yeah.
Like he was just such a competitor. He was such a competitor. They don't make them like that anymore, bro. This guy is trying to steal the money, fight the fifth and sixth best contenders, expects you to talk about it like you're the best contender. If you don't, then he throws you out of his press conferences and doesn't let you get the credentials like he did to Marquez and all of them for calling him out on it. So he wants to do that and wants you to lie about it too and praise him. You know what I mean? And he wants to outright duck guys. Yeah. So you look at Ali, because a lot of guys in that position will fight those next top guys because they're low on money. They're like, oh man, I got to take a fight. This fight. Ali, we know he retired with a huge estate, right? He died with a huge estate. Yeah. He still fought freaking Larry Holmes, bro. Yeah. At that age.
That's the problem that I
have.
He
was such a competitor. He still fought Larry freaking Holmes.
That's the problem that I have with today's era of boxers. Like, I'm noticing nobody, like even in the 80s and stuff like that, with Sugar Ray Leonard and Hagler and all them guys. Like, everybody fought to fight the best, and everybody fought to kill.
I got it out for Leonard too, though, bro. He didn't give Duran and Hearns the third fight. I got it out for Leonard too.
I feel you, but he at least still stepped in the ring with them.
That's why he's legendary. That's why they are legendary.
Yes, exactly.
Again, the prime.
And you mean the third Duran fight in a timely manner. When they fought in 89.
The competitiveness. There's only a hand-picked few fighters in this era that you can give that to. You can Bud Crawford, Tank, he's in terms of how Tank fights. Like you see Tank. He's
you gotta fight Shakur Stevenson, kid.
No. Until
you get me Shakur and Tank, I'm not
100%. But I think that's being built. I feel like it's
but that's the problem. You marinate it and you get it when you don't want it. Now they're talking about Tank and Lomachenko. I don't need Tank and Lomachenko. I needed it like 4 years ago. I don't need it now. So then you give me that fight now. It's not the same. It's like when they were trying to make Joshua and Wilder. Bro, I don't need that fight anymore. And obviously we found out we don't need it anymore. They were like, up until a year ago, they were like, Joshua Wilder, bro. Joshua Wilder was 3-4 years ago. I don't need it anymore. I don't need that in my life. So what I need right now in this moment is Gervonta Davis and Shakur Stevenson right now. In 5 years, maybe I'm not going to need it.
We're going to get the Loma.
But that's the problem. I don't need the Lomachenko fight anymore because it passed.
What do you do though?
Loma Shakur or Loma?
You're going to get Loma and Tank, I think.
You think so?
I do. Aram's warm to it now. LW's warm to it.
And Loma is a little older. So but again, Loma isn't. Again, here's the thing. Loma isn't that Ali competitor though. Loma always chases the toughest fights.
Yes.
They didn't care. Loma constantly chases. He's not gonna get enough respect for this. He constantly chases the toughest fights. I got guys on the internet hitting me up. Oh, a guy who's 19-3. Bro, he's 19-3 because he didn't have the 20 waste of time fights first.
Exactly.
Otherwise, he'd be 39-3. He saved you to waste your time watching him beat guys that you knew he was gonna beat. So he didn't have the 20 waste of time fights. He went right into right into it from the jump, and he's
Gary
19-3.
Russell was his third fight.
Otherwise, he's 39-3. So Lito was his second fight. Otherwise, he's 39-3. You know what I mean? And so, I mean, I feel like, he is going to go for it, but I don't need that fight. But will that fight build up more? And also, all you're doing there is you're continuing to build Tank up more. If the excuse is you need to build up the fight, then why don't you start building Shakur up more?
Shakur up, that's what we need to do.
Because that's all it is an excuse, bro.
Tank is there.
And Tank for me looked the best he looked last night because it was a cerebral part of him last night that was more elevated.
From round one, he was
more elevated.
His face, just pushing the pace, high guard, was more carrying from round one.
Again, I need to see Shakur and Tank. But if you give it to me in 5 years, that may not be the fight I want anymore at that point. At that point, I may need something else. But now you're going to give me the fight from 5 years ago now. That's the problem with boxing.
The interest of the fight, though, is not as big right now as it should be because of Shakur's last performance. You know, with the De Los Santos of
all right, so we get him back in. Well, I want to see somebody else do the De Los Santos first.
Yo,
that's what's funny about it.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm criticizing, bro. Just show me what you do with De Los Santos. Show me what somebody else does with De Los Santos. De Los Santos is nasty, bro. The Shakur still dominated that guy.
The good thing about boxing, it's a
two New York guys now. We're getting into it.
Boxing is a forgettable type of sport to where it's like they think
what
about
have you done for me lately?
Exactly. So Shakur has a great showing, which I do believe he'll have a great showing in his next fight, July 6th.
Yeah, a couple weeks,
Yeah, he will be right back steamrolled into that conversation with him.
100%, 100%.
And then we could probably like really push it like that. I really want to see these guys fight so bad.
We need it now.
Yeah.
We need it now.
I want it. I'm tired of marinating, bro.
Yeah.
I'm tired of it.
I did my part. I was the only one trying to press Gervonta on the Shakur thing, and because I told him, I said, Gervonta, you've knocked out a lot of good fighters.
Yeah.
Like Mario Barrios is a good fighter.
Ryan
Ryan Garcia is a good fighter.
Pedraza.
I bring up Pedraza and Pitbull because they won world championships after he beat them too. Like obviously Pedraza, he took the title from him, but then Pedraza went to lightweight and he won a world title. So
some of his wins have aged well.
That looks even shinier
especially
when you beat a guy who then becomes a champion later.
Yeah,
Cruz,
and beating
the same
with one
thing.
hand. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, definitely, especially.
It's funny when people ask, what's been who after each of these knockouts they ask, was he the best that you fought? And it's like it's a clear-cut answer. Cruz is the best he fought because he went the distance.
And
everybody else got knocked out. It's not hard to.
That was the other cerebral side of the fight. That was the other cerebral fight that I saw Tank where it really impressed me because he hurt his hand, like you said, and he had to get back and box and show that against an all-out pressure guy who can punch. But this is where you start appreciating guys. I don't need to see you fighting the Uber driver, bro, because then it makes you it makes you harder to appreciate. Maybe the guys who just want to see a knockout and they're just fans of the guy, like Canelo fans. As long as he can fight the Uber driver, as long as he gets a knockout, they're all happy. That's not a real boxing fan. Like I want to see you tested. I want to see those same skills shown against a class of guys. That's why I rated last night to win. I saw cerebral, I saw power, I saw intelligence, I saw boxing ability, I saw reflexes against a quality fighter. Same thing in the Pitbull fight. I saw now, I look at the Pitbull fight. That impresses me. But I don't even see you go fight Pitbull and then go fight Alex Garcia who fought at 130 pounds and just got here yesterday, and then tomorrow he's gone, but you make a pay-per-view against him, and then you don't fight he fought Garcia after, but then you don't fight 14 months later. You kill yourself doing that. You kill your own standing doing that. Davis has all the potential. A guy who is into boxing, leaves you wanting more. But I want to see the best of you. The only way I'm going to see the best of you is if you fight the best. Because then they're going to force the best of you out. Otherwise, I'm not going to see the best of you. And then I'm going to start questioning it. I'm going to start questioning why you don't even want to fight the best. You know what I mean?
Well, these fighters' fans turn it into a hate thing where it's like, you just want to see him fight the toughest. You want to see him get beat. It's like, no, we think Gervonta could very well win these fights. And we just want to see him execute it and do it.
I do have an issue. You were content promoting yourself with a fake belt at 135 for a bunch of years while Lomachenko had 3 belts. And then Haney had the belt. You were content getting announced as WBA welterweight champion. I don't consider the secondary title the championship. Anybody who had the secondary title is not a champion. That's why I had that issue with my BA title last night. They changed the rule after I had the main BA title. Now they call me a regular champion. Because the super champion, when I was the champion, it was all super champion only applied if you made 5 defenses or if you unified. Otherwise, there was no super champion in the weight class. So it was only a special thing for certain kind of world champions. Otherwise, the BA welterweight champion was the main champion. Then later, they realized, we can get a couple extra sanctioning fees. You know what? Let's just make a super champion.
We could make an interim. We could make it regular.
So now the regular champion is a secondary champion. So what I'm saying is, at the time Gervonta is around, the rule has already been changed, obviously. You have a main champion, which was super champion, which was Lomachenko and then Haney. And then you have the secondary secondary belt. He's parading around the secondary belt consistently. I need you to want that fight when it should have been made.
Respectfully, though, he wasn't who he is now.
He is, though. He was already headlining pay-per-views. Come on.
He was headlining
pay-per-views. If you're headlining pay-per-views, you think you're the guy.
From an X's and O's and performance standpoint.
Don't headline pay-per-views, bro. Don't go headline pay-per-views.
That's you. Now that's the business.
No,
that's not him. That's the business.
That's a scumbag business because even Mike Tyson.
What is boxing?
Even Mike Tyson.
Business.
Even Mike Tyson headlined on pay-per-view against Michael Spinks. Came back against Tony Tubbs on HBO regular. Went out on pay-per-view against Frank Bruno. I'm talking about in the 80s, but I remember this. I was alive. I was watching.
Williams, he fought on regular.
Carl
HBO.
Williams, but that was after he lost to Buster. He went to fight Douglas on HBO regular again. You know what I mean? So just because you now are a pay-per-view fighter doesn't mean you stay a pay-per-view fighter. Even Oscar De La Hoya was a pay-per-view fighter. He fought Patrick Charpentier on regular HBO. Right. Charpentier was
Coley.
Now they'll get you a guy becomes a pay-per-view fighter. We'll get the Uber Eats fight guy. Uber Eats, you know what? We'll make it on pay-per-view too. What are you talking about, bro? You needed the special matchup, not the guy on pay-per-view. You needed the matchup on pay-per-view.
Yeah.
So if you become that guy, then you're that guy.
When he was the regular WBA champion,
but
whatever.
But he's headlining pay-per-views. Now you want to be that guy? Then be that guy.
I'm saying he wasn't mature. He wasn't.
Headlining pay-per-views,
He wasn't the fighter that he is now.
Lomachenko Davis would have been a great pay-per-view at that time.
Forget that. I'm talking about from an X's and O's performance standpoint. Lomachenko was on another level then. The timing just didn't make sense.
But the timing makes sense now.
Now it makes sense now because boxing is a scumbag business.
What do you do? I give Lomachenko credit though, because like I said, like Ali, he'll take that fight. Yeah, that's the thing. Like Canelo don't even want to fight his mandatory. Lomachenko doesn't have to unify, but he'll take that fight. Just like Ali didn't have to really go fight Larry Holmes when he's the greatest already. Real
quick, let's truly recap Martin versus Tank real quick. Yeah. Because I felt like Tank started the way we all knew he was going to start. I think he came forward more because he knew that Frank was going to be on the back foot.
Mental pressure.
And the thing that I didn't expect, I thought he was going to come forward and start faster with offense. He just started forward with the mental offense, you know what I mean? Which is extremely impressive. Yes. The thing that bothered me about Frank after 4 or 5 rounds, there was never a switch up. There was never a let me turn him and go back to him.
You get taken to a place where a world-class fighter takes you. Yeah. You know what I mean? You get taken to a place where you haven't been until you fight that level of opposition. His first title fight.
Yeah. That's the biggest thing.
The biggest level of opposition he fought.
That's the biggest thing I had going into against Frank when it came to coming to this fight, because I was like, man, like his bag wasn't that deep. And from my analysis, you know what I'm saying? And Tank, he know that, because he even told Frank, like, yo, bro, like, you got this fight too early. Like, you came after me too early, but you're too late now. Like now, like, you know, you didn't step in the lines, then it's too late. But I felt like even with his last fight, when he before this fight, Frank, he didn't show. Yes, man, he didn't show an adaptability, like, type of you know, he just didn't have that in his bag. And
he dug down deep in the championship rounds, dropped him.
Showing up
I felt like it was just more.
That's digging deep, not making an adjustment.
Exactly, he's just being consistent.
He didn't have enough layers to his style.
He did not figure out that dude, like, the whole fight, just that style. I'm sitting there watching, and I'm just like, why is he boxing with this guy? Press him, like, just go right after him. And he caught him with a good shot, and then that's when he started to press him, because he felt comfortable to do it. But he didn't step out his comfort zone on his own. He just saw the opportunity when he caught the guy with the shot.
That's one of the bad things of him starting late.
Yes.
He relies more on his talent and his athleticism.
Yeah.
His talent and his athleticism tells him to go fight off of the back foot. Tells him that he's quick enough and strong enough to catch guys with the offhand.
Good. His back foot game is good. Yeah. But it was too much of it. But like, when you're gonna start pressing back.
Yeah, because he doesn't know how to do that. And I didn't know that. I thought that because I know he has a tough mentality. Yeah. But there's a difference between having a tough mentality and then translating that in the boxing ring. You know what I mean? So I thought at some point he was actually going. This is what I thought. You're gonna fight on back foot, and then eventually you're gonna start stepping to him.
Right.
He never stepped to him. And I was just like, after I think,
you know what, Shawn, you gotta make that decision. That's a decision you gotta make. I can remember fighting Cotto, and it was like 8 or 9. It was around that. Then I went and actually had a good round.
You actually buzzed him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was before either 8 or 9. And I remember they yelled to get there and my ass in the corner. Like, I'm like, and I already know how hard this guy hits. Again, I got swelling on my face. I don't know what's broken, but and I'm like, and I got to make a decision right there. I was like, it's like, remember Lethal Weapon? You ever see Lethal Weapon 4 with Jet Li? When Mel Gibson at the end, when they took care of everybody, they left Jet Li there, and I don't know if you guys seen the movie. And then Mel Gibson goes to Danny Glover. How does he do that? How does he do all those kicks and everything else? And Danny Glover kind of knows what he's getting at. And he goes, all right. Let's go ask him. So like, we gotta go fight him. They gotta go back after. Like when he's reluctant to do it, he's like, all right, let's go ask him. Well, I was like that. I was like, all right, I gotta go after him. But if you see those rounds, I went after Cody. Like I didn't want to do that, man. It's like Frank had to make that decision. Do you want to be a world champion tonight or not? You know, and it's like. You gotta make that uncomfortable choice in that moment. It may not work out for you. I mean, he may get knocked out, but he got knocked out anyway. So you know what? You go for it.
She got knocked out
gamble
anyway,
for it.
right?
You know, it's one of those things that when you think differently. It's like I told you last night. If I would have go back to the fight with you, I would have just came out and fought you. I would have probably still lost, but I would have made a better showing of it. You know, because you were just too strong. You know.
But back to Tank real quick. I thought that, and it's hindsight, and it's also full assumption. But he started going after Frank, and when he started just letting loose on Frank, when Frank's on the ropes, he didn't get him when he first started doing it, but eventually it caught up to him.
Yes.
The adjustment for Frank right there to fight back, a lot to your point, I think he still would have did what he was doing. I don't think there was anything that Frank was gonna do
what
that was gonna
those
stop.
sequences?
I don't agree because I felt like there was some counters that Frank was throwing that caught Tank really good and kept him honest for a little bit in the beginning. Like Frank wanted to continue to push the pace and start that onslaught that he did towards the end earlier. Like, I saw it. Like Tank was really trying to set but Frank kept catching him little shots. But you gotta watch it. So now if he was going to continue to fight and throw more punches, then Tank would have been on some okay, now I gotta fight. I gotta find him another way to fight. Too many rounds are going by, and Frank is winning too many rounds now. You know what I'm saying?
But the other side of that is Tank will react too.
But
that's why you got to get in there and go for it, though. You want to be world champion or not.
You got to risk it.
Another thing is the lack of different looks, also defensively, because Frank will go on the ropes and get low. Eventually, that's why Tank set him up for that knockout shot, because he's like, he's going to go low. I'm going to throw the throwaway shot. He's going to drop. Because you drop and you show him the same look constantly.
Every time.
And that's what he did.
Canelo did that to Saunders, right?
Yo, did you realize Tank, he was throwing the whole time. Every time he was getting, he had Frank to the rope, he was throwing a right hook, straight left hand, right hook, straight left hand. And then he just programmed
and ducking
Frank
straight
to
down.
Duck.
Yep.
So he just switched it up. Bow! Just man, that was a beautiful setup, man. Like
that's why you also have to slip. That's why you also have to slip differently. You know what I mean? Sometimes you got to parry.
Exactly.
He was doing the same.
So you can't predict what his reaction would be.
So you can't be set up.
Listen, a lot of guys, man, they don't get. Hey, Paulie, you, bro, you're smart, bro. Like you're so smart. I used to love listening to this dude as a commentator on Showtime. Dog, oh my gosh, I'm like, yo, he is the best commentator I've ever heard because like his breakdowns is ridiculous. Like
I'm over here like, hey, he alright.
Bro, man, I'm telling you, bro, his breakdowns is just ridiculous. Like you say it and break it down so clearly that the casual fans will really tune in. Like, wow, that's why that happened. That's what the fight.
Well, that's what I used to tell people. I used to say, if I can give you a view of the fight, the way I'm seeing it, maybe you'll get a clearer view or a bigger view, like
but it's not just that. It's the way you articulate.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, of course.
Because
I know, like, not everybody's watching as a boxing fan.
Yeah,
I'm trying to get, that's how you gain new boxing fans.
Yeah.
That's how you bring them in and you make them understand what they're watching. That's how you get hooked, man. Once you understand boxing, you get hooked,
yes,
man.
Yes, bro. Yes,
so
yes.
if people would just understand the sport a little better, you could get hooked. So you
But
bring fans like that.
You guys are mentioning he knew where he was going to duck down to, and Paulie acknowledged Canelo did the same thing to Billy Joe Saunders, did a little decoy double jab. I know you're going to dip here, boom, fight over. Speaking of Canelo and Tank, Canelo's Paulie's favorite fighter, we all know, but no, but Tank's favorite fighter is Canelo, and Canelo loves watching Tank too. And
that's more like a bromance. Like, you got a lot of followers, I got a lot of followers. Let's just shine each other and grab each other's
You're a hot
followers.
girl in school, I'm a hot girl in school.
Let's hang out together. That's what. Come on, bro. They don't have nothing in common. Like
but stylistically, I saw those sequences where you were talking about earlier, where he got.
What they call those collaborations on the internet, you know?
Yeah,
They call those collabs.
Yeah.
That's what that is.
Where he get Martin on the ropes and hold him there and pound down on him, punch downwards with the left. That looked a lot like Canelo's fight with Caleb Plant. And Canelo around this age.
Same thing where Caleb started getting too much into that.
Yeah.
In flight mode.
Yeah.
Right, and getting pushed from pillar to post. But what took Canelo's game to another level was Golovkin Part 2, where he finally figured out and has the chin to pull it off, and the defense and the pulls to pull it off. And I think that's part of what you guys talked about. That's part of why Frank stopped letting go of the counter punches, is because he could. Tank's shiftiness with his upper body pulls and slip counters is better than ever now.
Yeah.
So you're worried. You try to counter him, he catches you back in the exchange, but. Canelo went to another level in that Golovkin rematch when he said, you know what, from now on, I'm on the front foot. Because before that, Canelo would be a boxer puncher, stand his ground in the center of the ring. And once he decided, I'm going to use the full range of my arsenal and skills on the front foot, take it to these guys.
Yeah.
That's when he ascended to his reign as number one pound for pound. And I saw that from Gervonta last night why mess around? Let me take it to him round one. I still got the defense. I still got the upper body dexterity, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to take it to you and do it. Yeah, in an intelligent way. So I thought this is the best Tank we've seen so far. He's peaking now.
For me.
Mm-hmm.
And that's crazy that it was all a 14-month layoff too. That's what's
That's supposed to show up somehow.
Hopefully we see him before 2020.
Well, I heard.
I think he had a mental shift. That's what it is. I think it was a pivot. You know, when you have those in your career, like that's just gonna shoot you up into another level that you probably didn't expect to reach yourself. He's been mentioning in interviews like when he went to prison and just
jail.
Things, jail. Sorry, yeah,
no,
jail.
no, you're good.
There's a difference. There's a difference. You're right. There's a
Yeah.
difference. When he went to jail and he was just going through a lot of things, just personally, he had and found mental growth. And you can see that in this fight, man. You can just see that, like
self-actualization.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like everybody who goes to jail ends up talking positive. Like, I've changed my life. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't.
Hey,
last night he looked great.
He made weight so easy.
He was
looked
lighter.
So comfortable.
He was very
Man.
light.
But I feel like, granted, people do say that, but you see it in his action. Like you see it. Like, and me, I was training alongside with him, for this camp and everything. So I'm looking at him, and he's just like working on all the little minute details, like, you know what I'm saying? And he's just trying to be as perfect as a fighter as he can be. And
next time you guys spar, give me a call so I can come down to the gym and watch that. I'd really enjoy that.
Listen,
I'll leave my camera in the car. I just want to watch.
The dude is special. The man is special, and he has that edge to where he wants to push himself. He gives himself no excuses. It's that championship edge, and he's just a joy to watch, bro.
He was.
What about Ghostbusters? Came out the Ghost. He copied Floyd on that. Floyd did it to Ghost Guerrero.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. That was funny.
But bro, anytime you fight your opponent's name the Ghost, you gotta use that.
You gotta put that in there.
You gotta go for it.
Yeah, for sure.
I think what we got last night from the boxing world, from Amazon Prime. Shout out to Amazon Prime, PBC. We got a good card last night. I think it fit the bill. It lived up to the bill that it fits. So,
definitely.
I'm happy with everything moving forward. I think that the cycle, let's talk about this real quick, the cycle of a Shakur and Tank fight happening seems to make sense. We got Shakur in about 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Yep.
July 6th.
Artem
So this is close. It's very close for him to have his fight, hopefully come out unscathed. And now there's no excuses. There's no I just fought or anything like that. You know, you fought. No, they're right in line, on schedule to be able to make that fight happen.
Well, Gervonta, he doesn't love the Shakur fight. He's like, he said last night after the post fight that we all know what he's gonna do if he fights me.
Bro,
but it's like
anytime guys don't want to fight somebody, they always got some. Don't give me that. Anytime somebody don't want to fight somebody,
this fight ain't meant to be fun.
Do the test some time. Do the test some time.
None of that.
Even going back, remember like the Leonard press conference? Who did Leonard beat? Sugar Ray Leonard. When they want to ask him about Tommy Hearns, he's like, I'll fight Tommy Hearns when he gets the popularity of Roberto Duran. Bro, fight Tommy Hearns. At least he did. Credit to him.
Yeah, he did it.
Tommy is just your buddy.
Even then, he was like kind of like, nah, bro, nah. Every time they make these excuses because they know that they're up against the real deal.
But my thing
Make
is
the
too,
fight.
My thing is too, you gotta like, and I know you.
I gotta marinate it. I
It's
get
all
it.
about the money. Like,
Yeah, but here's the
money
thing.
is a big part of it.
It is money. It is about the money. But I'll tell you what. Even when I was younger, people were like, oh, people would want to see you make the crazy fights, and then when you're busted up at the end of your career, and then where is everybody? I used to think, you know what, that's a good point. And you know what, it still is a good point. But you know what's even cooler? I'll tell you what's even cooler. Getting to live the rest of your life as the man. When you actually went and did it. And now you might have some damage. But you know what? I don't know, man. There's ego in men, bro. There's grown men.
Sure.
If you know you went and did it, and you accomplished it, you went and did it. If you were really the man, now if you don't really think you're the man, then you'll be like, I'll fight him when he's more popular. Or, we know he's gonna run. Now, but if you think you're the man, and everybody says that's your biggest threat, and this is in your weight class, it's like, you know what? Go get it.
Man.
Go show you the man.
I'm with you. It's not supposed to be a fun fight. Solve the puzzle. So,
Bro,
it's not supposed to be difficult.
If all sports had this mentality,
yes.
the Mike D'Antoni coach teams will win the NBA title every year. The Mike D'Antoni team were high-flying offensive teams with no defense. Every time Mike D'Antoni coached the team, the Suns, the Knicks, offensive teams with no defense. You know what? If this was boxing, you know what? But you still play you still had to have the playoffs. And watch the Mike D'Antoni teams get eliminated every year because you don't win championships like that. And that's it. In boxing, though, it's the only sport where you're allowed to say, you know what? We want to watch the Mike D'Antoni teams, and we don't want to watch the guys that might beat them. Nah, bro, I want to watch the guys that might beat them. I want to watch a fight. I want to watch the best. Whatever it takes to be the best. Sometimes it's exciting, sometimes it's not. Whatever gets you to be the best.
Yeah.
The metaphor I make is it'd be like if Tom Brady, those last couple years in Tampa, says, "What do I got to play Patrick Mahomes for? I'm Tom Brady. I'm the face of football. I'm the greatest. He's in the AFC. I'm in the NFC. What do I get out of it?" And it's like, well,
you could do the same thing.
This is how it's supposed to work.
Real quick before we get out of here, Shu Shu, thanks for coming and joining the PorterWay Podcast. I know we should have had you on like 2 months ago.
Well, wait, who right now is the slight favorite? It's a 50-50 type fight, but who's the slight favorite between Shakur and Tank?
I was coming to you with that first. Go ahead.
My bad.
After last night, it's much closer. I still think Shakur is the best one. But last night gave me a... Oh, you know what last night did for me? It made me want to watch it. Give me the fight. Before I was like, Shakur's the best one. But
you don't want to do hypotheticals on the couch for the next year. You actually want to watch the fight.
Now it's like, bro, because Tank gained a couple extra points. When I already got Tank pretty high. When I got you at a certain height, it's hard to get even a little higher. Like I don't know that he can catch Shakur, but like. Last night he found a way to score more points in my head where he's like, you're even better than this, So it's like, I still edge Shakur, but it just makes me want to see the fight more. Yeah. It just makes me want to see the damn fight. Am I wrong? I want to see the two best teams in the league. In any season in the league, I want to see the two best teams in the league get it on for the title. Yeah. Am I asking too much? Every other sport gives it to us.
Right.
Listen, man, I think Shakur is going to have a fast pace.
Yeah.
Then you know what?
Yeah.
Then you know what? Either he's going to have a fast pace or he's going to slow down the pace. Everybody always thought Floyd was going to have a fast pace too. And Floyd always slowed down the pace.
Yes,
made you fight his
fight.
fight.
Doesn't Tank like a slow pace?
That's true.
Doesn't Tank like a slow pace?
Yeah, but
you ain't catching Shakur with the stuff you catching.
Shakur is so patient.
Yeah.
Shakur is probably the
Shakur
most
will control
patient
you.
fighter I've ever shared the ring with, sparring, whatever. Like, he's the most patient guy. Like, I don't know, bro. Like, man, you want to go slow, he'll go slower.
And he ain't chilling either.
That's the
interesting part.
He'll still feel like he'll still feel like he has the control though, because even in a De Los Santos fight, people don't realize because they're not seeing it cerebrally, like he's deeply. He steps to De Los Santos in key moments.
Yeah.
Yes.
He doesn't throw punches, but he doesn't throw punches. He'll step back because De Los Santos will miss and then come up short, and then he'll be like, and then he'll step back. De Los Santos will step back. Shakur will fill that space.
Yeah.
It won't throw, but he'll fill that space.
I was gonna say, let me expound on that real quick because that's Tank be chilling.
Yeah.
Tank is like, everybody say, yeah, he is. He's downloading information. He's taking his time.
Not last night. Last night he filled the space.
Yeah, last night he filled space.
Last night
round one.
Usually he's like a daisical, and he actually, it's almost like you beat him and then he gets you.
Yeah, yes.
But last night he knew he couldn't do that.
That's my issue, or that's my thing. The way he fought last night, that kind of pace, that kind of rhythm, that kind of in your face.
Yeah.
Now let's see who can. Let you get see, but that's why you make the fight.
And he did it
again. We gotta see who comes up with the answers now. Now we got questions for both. We gotta come up with the answers now.
I ain't gonna lie. After that last performance, especially, I got a 50-50. Like, this is gonna be.
Yeah, but you know both of them, so you're trying to be friendly. You know, you're trying to.
That too. No, I'm not. He's not wrong.
Well, if my boys used to fight, I didn't pick a winner.
He's not wrong.
I gotta interview these guys. I might have to be like you and say 50-50.
It's funny because every time one of them
yeah.
fight, it's like, okay, yeah. And then it's like, okay, yeah.
No, but even
Last
if I
night,
wasn't friends with them, I truly believe in my heart of hearts, like it's 50-50. Like
No, it is.
We were seeing different shades.
We
of
also
these guys.
gotta say one thing that fans never realize, okay? And I hate to do it to you fans, but sometimes I gotta say it.
Camera up there.
Fans, I hate to do it to you, but sometimes I gotta say it. Excitement factor doesn't necessarily equal effectiveness.
Yes.
Sometimes the two are completely different.
Matthias
All
found that
night.
out last
Vladimir
night.
Klitschko, for example, was never really exciting. He was
Yeah.
effective. Okay?
All
There
night.
are guys. Floyd
Every
Mayweather a lot
time.
of times gets criticized for not being exciting. He was
was
effective.
effective.
So
Tank-
when you look at Tank is a fan favorite. Oh, he'll knock him out. He'll put Shakur to sleep. Why? Because he's exciting. So you were biased.
Every
But
time he
effectiveness-
swung last night, I heard the crowd. Every time he swung, I heard the crowd. I'm like, y'all just waiting on it.
Yeah, there was one big right hook early. There was one he missed when Frank got under. It was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You hear the whole crowd.
He jabbed him to the body, and then Tank smiled, and the crowd's like, ah. I'm like, jab to the body. Like,
But now that's what happens when you're fighting a star, though, man.
Yeah,
When I
yeah.
fought Cotto, everything he was doing, even if he missed, they were flipping out.
and Pacquiao, anytime he fought anybody, he saw a flurry. He's not touching nothing. Like, man.
What a perfect experience to be ready for Shakur, though. You fighting a fast, athletic southpaw,
Yeah.
and you walked him down.
Or he's preparing for Lomachenko.
Right. Well, that's what I think's coming next, Paulie.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sorry.
I think that's.
And what do
more
we do?
of a-
But what
yeah.
do you do, Paulie, when the guy? Because this happens a lot. Where you,
Okay, so if
you
once he beats, because I think he's
Yeah.
gonna beat Lomachenko.
Me too.
A couple of years ago,
Yeah.
I told him I think Lomachenko would have beat him. He beats Lomachenko. Now you better give us a Shakur fight. Don't give me no Canelo and run up to another weight class. Be like, I'm chasing greatness, you know, and give
gonna
you
do
attitudes. You know,
gonna do that.
you better fight Shakur. And if you beat Lomachenko, you gotta fight Shakur.
What do you do in terms of giving a fighter proper credit when you're not beating a shot fighter? Lomachenko's still got
No.
gas in the tank, but he's not. You don't want to be intellectually dishonest and say, "Oh, you beat him at his
You know what it is?
peak."
He's
You didn't-
being responsible business-wise. That's what he's doing, right?
Yeah.
It's really. But this is something that happens in boxing all the time, right? The old generation takes over the new generation.
Right.
I mean, the new generation takes over the old generation,
Right,
vice
right.
versa. And unless the old generation gets out in time, this is a natural
Yes.
sort of transferal of power, so to speak. You
Yeah.
know, again, I brought up Joe Louis and Marciano. We had Ali and Holmes. Now,
But Ali and Lewis were shot, and Lomachenko isn't in his peak anymore, not his prime, but he's not shot. He's still operating
but
at a high level.
you still had.
Yeah.
You still had. I mean, Lomachenko's 36, bro. I mean, how do you
Yeah,
know? How do you know what he's got left?
But 36 now is a little different than
he-
36
he-
then.
But he beat
yeah.
Kambosos, bro.
Right,
I mean,
right.
Kambosos doesn't prove anything, bro. Kambosos hasn't looked good since the.
A lot of people thought he beat Haney.
You know,
Just a year ago.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. But what I'm
Right,
saying is,
right.
that was again. But every year at this point,
Yeah,
he
yeah.
has 35 every year.
yeah,
At this point,
yeah.
no, I've noticed a difference between Lomachenko against Devaney versus Kambosos. Like he did beat Kambosos, but I'm noticing his reaction time isn't the same. Like certain things, like little shiftiness is not there.
Right.
And plus Kambosos, listen, he accomplished it. He made good money. Last year he had some problems I had with him, but I mean, I don't have an issue with Kambosos. The issue I have is, call it like I see it. You haven't had one good performance since the Teofimo win, So what is really beating Kambosos? What is that a good look for Lomachenko? Is that show us like, oh, he's back? No, I mean, okay, he's still a 36-year-old Lomachenko, bro. And Davis is getting better, bro.
That was a great end of the career win for Lomachenko.
Yeah. And I tell you what,
I
Lomachenko
keep
could
going that way.
Lomachenko
Respectful.
could be the guy. He could retire. I mean, he was saying he's not the kind of guy that will just chase money, but there might be so much money for Gervonta that he might do it because he was saying he might not want to fight, but he said it for his father. He had this last fight, so he's got already retirement on your mind. Which is another thing. When retirement is on your mind, you also your desire is also diminishing a little bit.
The decline is there.
He wasn't at the Usyk Fury fight. They used to always hang out together. Like he's doing other things now. You know what I mean? Like he's kind of like boxing is like becoming secondary to him. So you may do it for the money, just to have a retirement fight, an out the door
It's
fight.
not a bad way to go out. You go out fighting the best on the biggest stage, and he'll give us.
Yeah.
He's going to give a good fight,
Yeah.
even if it ends in a stoppage or something like that. But
I mean, it's the dual fight. We just got to get Shakur after it, though. That's
that's the real fight. That's the real proving ground is Shakur another guy in his prime who's elite. Crazy idea, right?
And you know the good thing for Lomachenko is Gervonta's an ex-130 pounder, so he's not fighting a big lightweight like a Haney or something.
Yeah.
So that brings a little bit of fun finesse into it, right? Where it's like, okay, they're both ex-30 pounders. Lomachenko, Gervonta and Lomachenko similar size, you know.
I feel like we see more out of Gervonta's bag when he fights guys with similar length, though, like Garcia and Frank Martin.
Tall guys, you mean? But Lomachenko's kind of short.
No, that's what I mean. I think he's able to pull better and do when he fights tall guys like Barrios or Ryan early before he totally took control and could do what he wanted. He has to do the high guard and get underneath. But when he fights guys with similar length, that's where we get to see his full range.
Because you have to adjust to the height too.
Right.
Listen, we're gonna get out of here. Appreciate you guys for tuning in to the PorterWay Podcast. In closing, Paulie, I'm gonna use you as my motivational message. Don't be afraid to change. I sat here with Paulie and we talked for a little while. And I want you guys to go over and check out the interview I did with Paulie on the Patreon. He talks pretty much about how he got into this sport. One of the most beautiful minds in boxing and can articulate and do it.
Absolutely.
As good as I can do it.
Benson Hurst so proud. Paulie. We love him.
But listen, it didn't come the easy way. Life was coming to him a very hard way, and he found something that helped him change the possible future that he had. And so that's my motivational message to you guys. You got to find yourself, find your love, find your passion, and don't be afraid to go for it. You're not going to have support right away. It's okay. It's not going to be immediate success. It's okay. Keep going, find it, go after it, and stick with it. When you stick with it, life will change, life will get better, life will get bigger, more exciting. This is the PorterWay.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the Microsoft Theater here in downtown Los Angeles, brought to you by Shawn Porter Promotions.